Welcome to the educative story of Absalom's rebellion against his father, the king, David. This story is unfortunate but full of lessons, so I encourage you to watch it to the end. Meanwhile, I thank all our subscribers immensely for their encouragement and appeal to those who have not yet subscribed to consider subscribing. Thank you all very much. Let's kick off. In the beautiful city of Jerusalem, King David ruled with wisdom and strength. But not everyone in his family was content. One of David's sons, Absalom, had been brought back to the city after years of being away, and he had a plan, one that would shake the entire kingdom. In his closet, he secretly planned evil against his father, unknown to anybody. Absalom was handsome, charming, and knew how to win people's hearts. But beneath his smile was ambition. Absalom feigned a habit and remained consistent in it. Every morning, Absalom stood at the city gate, right where the people came to bring their problems to the king. A man approached with a scroll in hand and said to him,
"Excuse me, I've come to present my case before the king."
Absalom, smiling, said to the man,
"Ah, my friend, you have a strong case, but sadly, there's no one from the king to hear you today. If only I were made judge in the land, I would give everyone justice."
And when someone came to bow to him, he would lift them up and hug them like a brother, smiling and listening patiently. He did this day after day, stealing the hearts of the people of Israel. One day, he spoke to some of his men, saying,
"I'm going to Hebron. Tell everyone, Absalom has become king there. When the trumpet sounds, the news will spread."
With permission from King David, Absalom traveled to Hebron. But it wasn't just a visit, it was a trap. Messengers started running in different directions, spreading the rumor of Absalom's plan. Absalom sent secret messengers throughout Israel. When the trumpet blew, they shouted, "Absalom is king in Hebron!" More people were joining him, some confused, some excited. Even people who didn't know the full story were swept into the rebellion. It was happening. Absalom was stealing the throne, back in Jerusalem. David heard the news. A servant ran to him in panic and said,
"My king, Absalom, has turned the hearts of the people against you."
David, shocked but calm, ordered,
"Gather my servants. We must leave the city quickly before Absalom comes and traps us all."
And so the great King David left Jerusalem, barefoot, weeping, heartbroken. Not because he lost his throne, but because he had lost his son's heart. David and his followers crossed the Kidron Valley, ascending the Mount of Olives. People wept as they followed him. Some stayed loyal, but David walked quietly, trusting God even in this storm. At the mountaintop, David looked back at Jerusalem, regretting the unfortunate development. David didn't fight back with anger. He didn't try to destroy Absalom. He left everything in God's hands. David sat at the mountain with tear-stained face, imagining what next to do. Sometimes, the people closest to us can hurt us the most. But like David, we can choose peace. We can trust God, even when things fall apart. When betrayal strikes, respond with grace. Let God be your defender. David, the king of Israel, is on the run. His own son Absalom has led a rebellion and taken over Jerusalem. With a heavy heart, David left the city with his loyal followers. The journey was full of sorrow, danger, and unexpected encounters. David and his men walked down a dusty road. As David traveled, he was met by Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, the disabled grandson of Saul whom David had shown great kindness. David, tired and curious, asked him,
"Ziba, what are these for?"
Ziba, bowing slightly, responded saying,
"The donkeys are for your household to ride, the bread and fruit for your men to eat, and the wine for those who become weary."
David, frowning, asked him.
Where is your master's grandson Mephibosheth?
Ziba lied, saying,
He stayed in Jerusalem. He thinks the kingdom will now be restored to him.
And David replied.
Then everything that belonged to Mephibosheth is now yours.
Ziba replied gratefully.
I humbly bow before you. May I find favor in your eyes, my lord the king.
David and his men walked through Bahurim. On a hill nearby, a man named Shimei from Saul's family appeared, filled with bitterness, started throwing stones at David and yelling,
Get out, you murderer. The Lord is repaying you for all the blood you shed. Now your son rules because of your wickedness.
Abishai, drawing his sword, said to David,
Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over and cut off his head.
But David replied calmly, saying,
No, let him curse. If the Lord told him to curse me, who am I to stop him? Maybe the Lord will see my suffering and repay me with good for the curses I received today.
So David and his men continued on. Shimei kept following them from the hillside, hurling insults, stones, and dust. Just as David reached the summit of the Mount of Olives, something interesting happened. Suddenly, David was greeted by Hushai the Archite, his trusted advisor, with his robe torn and dust on his head. David, concerned, said to him,
If you come with me, you'll only be a burden. But go back to Jerusalem. Tell Absalom, Long live the king. I will serve you, just as I served your father. Then, you can frustrate the advice of Ahithophel.
Hushai, bowing, said, It will be as you say, my lord. David also told Hushai to coordinate with Zadok and Abiathar, the priests and their sons, to relay information from inside the city. Back in Jerusalem, Absalom entered David's palace. Ahithophel stood beside him. Hushai went to Absalom and said to him,
Long live the king! Long live the king!
Absalom said to Hushai,
So, this is the love you show your friend? If he's your friend, why didn't you go with him?
Hushai said to Absalom,
No, the one chosen by the Lord, by these people and by all the men of Israel, his I will be, and I will remain with him. Furthermore, whom should I serve? Should I not serve the Son? Just as I served your father, so I will serve you.
Absalom arrived in Jerusalem and was setting up his rule. He turned to Ahithophel, David's former counselor, for advice, and said,
Give your counsel, Ahithophel. What should we do next?
Ahithophel replied coldly, saying,
Sleep with your father's concubines, those he left to take care of the palace. Then all Israel will know that you have made yourself obnoxious to your father, and your followers will be strengthened.
So Absalom set up a tent on the roof of the palace, and, in the sight of all Israel, he did as Ahithophel advised. David was betrayed by one servant, Ahithophel, cursed by a relative of Saul, Shimei, and wounded by the shameful acts of his own son, Absalom. Yet, he did not lash out. He remained humble, entrusting his pain to God. In this dark hour, David's true strength shone, not in war, but in patience, humility, and trust. Even when cursed and cast down, he believed that God sees, and he waited. I prophesy to you, in whatever low state you find yourself today, God sees you and will surely reach out to you and save you in Jesus' name. Only continue to put your trust in him like David, and you will see his salvation. It's at this point, dear esteemed viewers, that we draw the curtain on this story. It continues in the next episode, and I encourage you to also watch it and see how it ended. It will surely strengthen your faith. Thanks for watching. Do have a nice day, and bye for now.